Hi, and welcome to my second video. In this video, I would like to share some of the insights that I got while I was creating this app. I would like to note that I am a noob myself, so I started learning LangChain just for this project. So my tips and my insights are targeting people that are also noobs. I think it will be useless to some more senior developers. So the first thing that I want to discuss is all these chat APIs like Chat NVIDIA, Chat OpenAI, Chat Grok, and so on, because they gave me a bit of hard time. So the very first days of my development, this is how the first window looked in my notebook. And the reason is because I wanted to try all of them. And actually, I tried all of them and different models in each of them. So what I notice is, okay, of course, you expect to have different behavior from models to models, but this app is, uh, they add a layer of kind of an uncertainty if you don't know what's happening under the hood, because even the same models, if called by different chat APIs, will have different behavior. For example, Chat OpenAI allow you to use like the NVIDIA IP or the Grok IP, but when you try to bind tools with Chat OpenAI, then these LLMs, these agents that you create, they cannot use the tools properly. At the same time, you have phenomena like Chat NVIDIA has the method tools, but it's not implemented. Chat Llama doesn't have any tools. There is Chat function that has a method called bind tools, but it doesn't bind structured tools as the others do, but they have a different thing that's called bind functions. So the same method is doing something different. So my advice with that is, okay, you can experiment, expect different behaviors, but in the end, stick with one. So the second thing that I would like to discuss is prompting. If you go to my file prompts.py, you will find like several prompts that I created for my agents. And I learned some lessons while I was doing that. First of all, the networks, the LLMs, are very sensitive to what prompt you are giving them. And even small alterations in the prompt can have different behavior. Um, so also like the same network can, with the same system prompt, can have an expected behavior for some input, and in some cases for other input will have a totally unexpected behavior. So if you if you create a system prompt, then I suggest you try many input prompts to see if your system prompt is stable and always gives the same outcome. So some rules is that like bigger models, they are more flexible and they can understand more convoluted prompts. And smaller models, they need like simple instructions and little instructions. Not so many, they should not have so many options. Especially if you go to local models, what I realize is that you cannot have like tools and answering at the same time. They're either good at like calling tools or like at answering questions. So a second thing that I want to discuss regarding prompting is the noise on the output. What I experienced is, especially with middle-size LLMs, is that sometimes you ask them to do something specific, like translate a page, and then apart from doing that, they give you some extra answers like here is your paper, or I hope you liked my work, or whatever. It's they're very verbose, and I tried very hard to tell them not to give me any other response apart from what I asked. I rewrote this prompt several times in the system, and always I failed. This is not true for bigger networks like GPT-4 and Claude Opus. They can follow instructions much better, but the cost is much bigger, so it makes no sense. Uh, So after experimenting a little bit of luck, I discovered a technique which I gave it a name. I named it "Put Words into My Mouth." And the idea is that apart from the system prompt, I created a small chat between the network and me, where like I say things like "I hope you do a good job" or like uh, giving the input in parts and not all together. And what I realize is that if I have this chat, then this like prompting structure may give me a much better result than putting everything in the system. Uh, it's like I feel like the LLM speaks through this chat and takes everything out of its system. So when it answer with whatever you instruct it to answer and nothing more. Uh, okay, and I was happy with this discovery of mine, this prompting system, and then I went to Claude, to the Anthropic API place, and I realized that this technique already existed in some sense because here you can add messages and you can create a whole chat. And I think the whole chat, okay, is useful because you can bring histories from other like places, but I think it's also because the creators of those LLMs realize that this technique works better. So if you create a whole chat between the assistant and the user, this creates a much better context to make the network answer properly than putting everything on the system or just having like a system assistant user kind of situation. So I would like to conclude with another thing that I noticed, and it has to do with system prompts. So what I noticed is that the LLMs, especially the medium-sized or smaller sized LLMs, they have a very hard time dealing with convoluted if statements. So conditions that one may depend on the other. Uh, if I have like many conditions that depend on each other, then the network will have that it will have very difficult time deciding what to do, and most times it will do something that I didn't want it to do. So what is the alternative to that? The alternative to that is to provide a series of tasks that the network will either do or not. So you still have some if statements, but your if statements are like very simple. So you go through the first task. If something is happening, then do the task. If not, go to the second task. And if somebody thinks about that, especially somebody that knows about the GPT architecture, this makes much more sense because GPTs are like, they have an architecture that encourages, that is like more aligned with having time series as input. So it's more aligned with input that they have some succession, one thing after the other. Of course, as an emerging phenomenon, like the stronger and bigger networks can deal with convoluted conditional statements and convoluted if statements, uh, but like I think it's always better to have this serial approach for your network. It will behave much closer to what you want to do, and especially going to middle-sized or smaller-sized networks may be the only way that you will make it do what exactly you want to do. Thanks for watching.